Hello, welcome to Drivecast. My name is Curtis. I'm an Audi Master Tech, and my mission here is to empower my fellow technicians in achieving the respect and pay that they have earned. Today's Drivecast episode will start off going over success, what it means to me, what it means to society, and what it can mean for other technicians as we move forward together. First off, I'll start with the definition of success by the dictionary. Success is the achievement of a goal which brings satisfaction, fulfillment, or the sense of an aspiration of accomplishment. So to me, that means that you've achieved something in which you've set the goal for yourself. I guess that was a little confusing, but if your goal is to make $1,000 in a week and you've set that goal and over that week you accomplished your goal, are you then successful? Do you feel successful? I think that answer is ever changing. Is one thing that I've learned is setting goals, not just for short term but for long term, and being able to go back and look at those goals and realize that that sense of accomplishment or that sense of success that you set for yourself. I mean, that's going to always change your definition of success. For me, I think initially for success, what that means for me is it used to mean maybe some money, status, a car, a house, a family. Before I knew what a family was, a family. I know now that that has changed completely. Um, a term that I think goes it's a little overrated, or maybe even a little overused, is uh, money. Money doesn't bring you happiness, and I think to a point that is true, depending on what type of happiness you're searching for, because there's more than one types of happiness. I think if you're searching for material items or you're searching for those vacations or those experiences, I mean, you can't buy groceries without money. You can't live in a house that provides comfort and the things you need to live as a comfortable human with even just by yourself. Money buys those things. I don't, you're not living in a tent and in the trees eating, scraps from a trash can. Money does bring happiness to a point. It brings comfortability, but I think also knowing when, like, what certain things bring you a level of happiness from a financial standpoint, what things bring you a level of happiness from a emotional, mental, and physical standpoint. I think it's all very important and different. So while I would still consider a financial uh, goal a version of success, I think fame is a version of success. Um, what people think of you, some people think that is a version of success. I've lately realized that honestly, to give a rat's ass about what people think about me. I mean, sometimes in the short term, it does hurt my feelings or it makes me feel good about myself. But I've been trying more and more to be like, the people close to me or the people that want to be close to me will go out of their way to do so. And that's more important to me and makes me feel more successful than getting the approval of others. Well, I guess the importance of being on social media is to for people to like you. If you're doing YouTube or Instagram or whatever, TikTok, the goal is the people to like you. So I wouldn't say that it's not out of sight, out of mind, but I think in my direct line of work as of recently, and honestly, just been able to let me really put my head down is just realize that I can be nice to people and I don't have to be everyone's friend. Like a lot of people at work aren't your friend. They might be nice to you and they might might hang out with them every now and then, but at the end of the day, if you quit, they quit, someone gets fired or whatever, I mean, how many people are you really talking to tomorrow consistently? Like, how many people are you like, oh, hey, I really like that person, I should hang out with them? Well, that number of people that you just thought of is probably the amount of people that you really need to focus your energy on. And so what I'm getting back to is, as far as what I think, or how I feel about what people think about me, it's just becoming more and more easy to just kind of narrow that category down. And when the success aspects of like mentally, I think that helps me out feel a lot. Helps me feel a lot more mentally successful when I'm not worried about what everyone and their mother thinks about me. I think that also affects like mental health, physical health, but like body is it body dysmorphia? I don't even know if that's the right word. But the way that I feel about my body, and now that might not directly relate to what people think about me, but it kind of does. If someone might think I'm fat or skinny or tall or short or whatever, if I let that get to me, that's going to affect my mentality. That's going to affect me and how I operate. But if if I like the way I look, or if I feel okay about the way I look, no matter what I'm comparing, if I'm on the internet comparing myself to other people, or I'm looking at people comparing myself to them, then I'm uneasy about that. But what am I doing about that for myself? Am I going to the gym? Oh, oh, thank you. And if I go into the gym, am I eating right? Am I drinking? Am I not drinking? Like, am I okay with what I'm doing? Am I okay with the way I look and the way I feel? Then I feel successful in that aspect of like physically. Do I want to go to the gym more? Do I want to eat a little bit healthier? Yeah, I'd say yeah. I'm definitely in a mental headspace where I want to go to the gym again and start grinding out that aspect of my life. I think the cards have changed a little for me when it comes to time. Um, Success in my family, I think, has become the most important thing. I think being a successful father and a successful husband is pretty freaking challenging. I know it's been challenging for me. I mean, there's always curves and hills and ups and downs to overcome, and I've been using a lot more of my time to focus on that, and really putting some extra effort into just being more patient, because I'm not patient at all. And so being more patient in my family affairs, if you will, and I think that's helped me feel a lot more successful in that aspect. And that's just me right now. If I rewind to when I started UTI, as I talked about in the last drive cast, I think then for me success was all about a car and money, what people thought about me. Did I A bunch of people follow me on Instagram, and I think that's evolved over time. I I learned a lot of lessons by buying a cool car that I couldn't afford, and focusing on what people thought of me and stuff like that. I wouldn't be here where I'm at if it wasn't for the things that I've learned from that. I think as I moved up through the oil change places, I think the mindset was the same. All I was focused on was me and the money, and how much could I make, what cool car can I drive, what people thought of me. I was in a car club, did that for quite a while. You know, I was always worried about the way my car looked. What could I afford to do to my car? I didn't care about where the money was in other places, and that really affected me. Honestly, I made some really poor decisions that affected me for years, 7 years to be exact. We all know the things on your credit roll off after 7 years. If that gives you any idea to what I'm talking about, I purchased a car, 350Z to be exact. Made some very poor purchases when I could have, in fact, paid the car off. I didn't do that. I just decided to bomb more money into it, and then as I went through Toyota and went into NOV, that car, it was lowered and had all this fancy stuff on it, so it ended up getting damaged. It ended up getting broken. It wouldn't drive. It didn't do this and didn't do that, and then I got laid off from NOV because just the oil field business took a crap. Uh, I ended up having to do a voluntary repo, which is a little shameful to admit, but I think it's very important for lots of up and coming technicians, because I see a lot of these young guys purchasing cars and spending a lot of money on things that they really can't afford. And I try to tell everyone that, hey, it's not like, save your money. You'll be able to get that fancy car. You'll be able to spend that money on it. Just wait. Because buying a car or spending your money on parts when you get your first 2 or 3 good paychecks when you first start on flag or flat rate, like, that's cool. But I've been in those shoes and I've spent that money. And if I can tell you anything, is just wait a few years, 5 years, just wait. You'll get there, and it'll be worth it. And you'll be appreciative that those are something that I'm sharing with you because I've made that mistake. And my I don't know, my grasp for success ended up ultimately, it was part of my downfall at a point where I, was in a bad place financially. Had to drive a very, very cheap car. Thankfully, I had some people in my life to help me get a hold of a cheap car, but I drove that, and really had to reel on what I spent my money and time on. And I think it helped bring into perspective how I feel now is I would love to have a cool car. Cool, like a car that I can put money into and spend a lot of, time, modifying or stuff like that. I would love to have that. And I think just right now is like I learned my lesson that if I can't buy that car like straight out, and I can't buy those parts straight up, like I'm not going to spend that money on that car or those parts until I can afford it, because it isn't worth it. And ultimately, I mean, how long do we keep cars anyways? It's kind of 5 to 10 years. I mean, you're in essence kind of just, unless you're planning on keeping that car for 15 years, blowing that money. So as I went through that process, it taught me a lot about how I feel today, about how success affects me today financially, and how I've been able to learn from that and share that with others. So um, after I went through that financial canyon, if you will, there was, to a canyon is a depth, a recess in the earth, but it does come up at some point. So moving to Audi, I think, was as I said before, a big game changer. Not just literally in every way, and so by switching to Audi, learning my lesson, getting back on my feet, getting everything squared away, waiting my 7 years, my version or vision of success changed into wanting to better myself, wanting to go to school, wanting to have a family, wanting to buy a house, and yes, eventually have another cool car that I could afford properly. Um, Moving up in the company that I work for, things like this. While some of those things didn't really come to fruition, some of them did. Having that goal that I talked about, the 1 year goal, setting a 3 year goal, 5 year goal, 10 year goal. I haven't quite got to my 10 year goal when I started at Audi, but I'm getting close. So I'll be able to revisit that when I get there and see if I've achieved my level of success, which I set for myself so long ago. Um, but with that being said, uh, well, during all that financial failure, I had a lot of physical success where I was working out all the time. I felt like I was in great shape. I was, lifting the amount that I wanted to lift. Okay, there's a cluster of traffic right here. Um, Sorry, that's very confusing. Let's start back with that. So after being in physical shape during my financial failures, I have, I think it's like a balance of everything. Right now I not really in shape, but I'm skinnier than I was. About 2 years ago, I was like 50 pounds heavier, 60 pounds heavier. I was a little bit of a chunky fella, if you will. I definitely wasn't happy with that, but I was happy in other areas, like financially and mentally. I was in a good place, and I think that's all just a balance of success and a balance of like how life is. Like you're never going to be just gung ho in all the categories, and a balance of all that is really honestly what success feels like to me. What do I want financially? Am I at a good spot where I'm happy, my family's happy, got money in the bank, I'm saving towards what I want? Yes. So I feel great about that. Am I working out? No, but I feel good about myself. Yes. Mentally, I'm definitely in a bumpy road. I think I'm struggling kind of just finding my heading and what I want to achieve now with this and where I work and all the other things that I'm kind of building or designing and trying to create for me. Um, One thing that I think, if I could set a goal right now for success in 3 to 5 years, would be working for myself, owning my own company, owning my own business, owning my own product or service, and really being able to put myself out there for what I believe that I'm good at and good with, and that's being efficient, being effective, flagging and doing a crap ton of work, whether it's for myself or for another company. But I really like it to be for me. But if I can, still work here or there and kind of just combine a bunch of things, I think that's ultimately where I see myself being successful in 3 to 5 years. This all kind of branched off of someone I work with who I consider a good friend. I think he's a younger fella, but he really has made an imprint on me, and that by that I mean he shows to me that he's very wise in things that he says and that he does, and he really thinks about some of the things he does. Maybe not financially with his car, as I've tried to express, but as far as his life goes, I think he's way ahead of his time as far as that. So this one goes out to him on what I think about success, what it means to me. I'm going to do a little fast forwarding and kind of go into just briefly touching base on something that I talked about last time, and that's just the video multi-point inspections. It's important. I want to kind of wrap it up and just finish kind of what I was saying, which is one, how much more money and time I've either made money and saved time by doing these video inspections, and how I was kind of touching base on people wanting to get paid for they're each doing a video inspection, so you get $3 per video inspection. Well, I think that's great and dandy and all. In the scheme of things, it's very minimal. The amount of money and time that I've earned by doing these inspections and building my scripts and building my word tracks has just been substantial. It's really helped me put in focus what I can do with my time, meaning when I can leave and go home to see my family and go home to use my own time to myself on time. And I'm actually debating moving my schedule a little bit earlier, moving from like a 6 to 4 or a 5 to 3, which a 5 to 3, that sounds great. I'd love to get off at 3, but I think it sounds a little wild waking up at 4-ish every morning. So the video inspections has really helped me put into perspective my life. I mean, it's really just helped me in a huge way, and it's helped me be a lot more effective with my time and efficient with my time. So I absolutely want to hear from everybody. If you're hearing this, reading this, seeing this, I would love to hear your ideas and thoughts on video inspections. I want to convince you to do them. I want to convince you to talk to your company about doing them. And I would love to be able to help you and help them get that set up, because it's a game changer for everyone involved. There's no one that loses out on that. You'll never lose out on a video inspection, even if you get a bad survey or a bad response. Once you're embracing it and working towards making it better, you will see the light of day. You will realize that this is one of the best tools that you could ever have, and it's not even in your toolbox. So that's really all I want to say about videos. Just let's get good at them together, because they're only going forward. And I think I've seen something where some people are using AI to build video scripts. I mean, hey, more power to you. I think that's a fantastic tool to use. It's a little robot-y, but as long as you can put your personal touch to it, it saves you so much time and effort. And I'm even willing to help some people build some of those scripts. I feel pretty confident that I could do that. So if you're reaching out in the comments or in the messages, hit me up. I want to hear it. I want to do it. I want to help you. All right. One thing I want to lead into for next time, which I'll briefly touch base now, and we'll go into a little bit more next time, is something that I'm trying to create, and I haven't really figured it out yet, but it's effective efficiency. Is basically combining what effectiveness is. So getting something done and using as little as possible, and just getting it done in the most highest quality way, which I would consider being effective. Now, efficiency is doing that in the fastest amount of time. So combining effectiveness and efficiency is doing something with as little amount of effort in the quickest amount of time that you can. And I think that's really what I'm trying to do here. And it's kind of just dawned on me over the last couple weeks of how can I create a program or like a system where we can put all our ideas into one pool bounce ideas and thoughts off of each other and create a system that generically works for every technician. A process of what are you doing when you're pulling the car in? What are you doing while you're working on the car? Each repair is obviously different, but how you're approaching each repair with creativity and forward thinking. And what are you doing at the end of your car? Are you preparing to work on the next car? Are you setting yourself up for the next car or the next day? So I really want to come up with some solid ideas, some lists, do a drive cast or two, even sit down and do just a talk maybe with somebody or even myself on creating this system that works for everybody. So if you're really having some ideas and thoughts on something that's working for you, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to talk about it. I'm still in the obviously still working through what I think is best for not just me but for everybody because everyone's in a different situation. I think especially between like dealerships and aftermarket shops. I think that's the biggest barrier is the dealership life is so much more different or so much different than someone who's working at a repair facility that isn't a dealership. That could be anything from like a Christian Brothers or an automotive repair shop, a custom shop, a performance shop. So if there's one piece of homework, if you will, that I want to leave you with is leave a comment about one thing that you felt that's really helped you be effective or efficient. And we're going to come up with a couple things that can help us all. So that's it for today. Signing out. We'll see you next time on Drivecast. Thank you. Have a good one and keep your efficiency effective.